Hello, Johnny from Eurogamer here, and with the year slowly drawing to a close, you're probably thinking about all the massive games scheduled for release in the next few months. Which is all well and good, but what about the games that aren't being made by enormous studios? The beauty of indie games is that they aren't tied so closely to the traditional release schedule, and, therefore, you can get excited about them at any time. So with that in mind, here are 6 indie games you really need on your wishlist. The first game on our list is Necro Barista. Necro Barista is a beautifully framed and stylishly rendered game that I got to try for myself at this year's PAX West. It's a game about making coffee for dead people, but at the same time, it's an awful lot more than that. See, the course the game takes is largely influenced by what you take away from the conversations you have. Mechanically, what this means is that as you have conversations in-game, you're able to select keywords and keep them with you. You can only hold so many words in mind, however, so you quickly have to learn to be selective. The impact the words you choose to carry with you might have isn't made explicitly clear, so, as a result, you quickly start curating a mood rather than, say, a puzzle solution. And it's a mood that really starts to inform how you interact with the rest of the game. My time with Necro Barista was tantalisingly brief, but it's a game that's really stuck with me, and I can't wait to see more. Next on our list, Bloodroot is a game that's as gore-soaked as it is gorgeous. Drawing heavily from a vein of stylish revenge movies and video games like Hotline Miami, it's a glorious score attack game that sees you swapping weapons as readily as you fell your enemies. This is another game I played at PAX West 2018 and I instantly fell in love with it. It's a game that punishes you for taking your eye off the ball and yet rewards you with its enormous potential for carnage. The weapons you use as you mow down sequential arenas full of goons may be brittle, but don't despair because, as it turns out, you can use pretty much anything to do a good old-fashioned murder, including a humble carrot. Indeed, it's in the fleeting nature of the weapons in your hands that Bloodroot really stands out. By making each weapon so flimsy, you're forced to keep swapping them on a near constant basis. This might sound like a drag, but it's honestly a delight. This is a world in which everything is fleeting, especially your enemies, and the movement speed of your character only serves to enhance the sense that you, my friend, are frighteningly powerful. If you'd like to see more of Bloodroot, I actually recorded a Let's Play that's live on the channel right now, so feel free to check it out, and please do stick this game on your to-play list. Talking of games that I've already played on the channel, Untitled Goose Game is one of those rare games that honestly delivers on its promise. See, when we were first introduced to this little marvel, it was in a gorgeously rendered trailer that showed a sociopathic goose ruining a groundskeeper's day. And to be quite honest with you, I thought it was too good to be true. This trailer, this game, was entirely too witty, and Untitled Goose Game? Who were they kidding? If they hadn't even cooked up a decent name for it, what hope could we possibly have of this thing actually seeing release? From the get-go, basically, the whole endeavour felt like a beautiful fever dream. I simply didn't believe I'd ever get to play Untitled Goose Game. Turns out I was spectacularly, delightfully wrong, because I have played it, and yes, it is still a bit of a daft name, but it's also beautiful, and so is the game itself. Untitled Goose Game is a delightful marriage of puzzle solving, stealth, and indulging in the simple joy of being an absolute jerk. It's a game that very quickly reveals itself to be more sophisticated than you might think. Moreover, it's also a game that never loses sight of its own key premise, namely that being a goose is very funny. Everything that's great about this game is only made better by the fact that you are an awful, terrible Goose, which is why I cannot wait to add it to my game library once it launches in 2019. Again, if you'd like to see a bit more of this particular title, there's a Let's Play on the channel right now. If I can just get a carrot and put it over here, he's going to go looking for that carrot, and then we can soak him. The perfect crime. And now we wait. Yeah, take that. That's for taking your pumpkin back. Next on our list is Disco Elysium, a game that is generating a lot of buzz at the minute. For one thing, it's absolutely gorgeous, but for another, it's one of the most ambitious indie games we've seen for a long, long time. At first glance, you'll see an isometric RPG with a really distinctive art style, but in actuality, Disco Elysium is far more complex than that. It's got elements of point-and-click games as you gather evidence, but it's also a proper RPG with stats and checks and significant character choices. Your character, while we're at it, is a hard-boiled detective who's, frankly, a bit of a state. He's pretty down on his luck and has started leaning pretty heavily on substance abuse to see him through. So I think you'll agree he's not exactly an ideal candidate to solve a murder case. The case, by the way, promises to be an enormous, multifaceted beast that you can apparently go about solving in whatever way you choose. There are plenty of approaches to take, from being the typically violent bad cop to sweet-talking everyone with your endless supply of charisma and a silver tongue, to relying on your razor-sharp detective skills to find hidden clues from the world around you. Whichever way you decide to play, you can put the points you earn into a number of different skills to make your job easier, but you'll have to be careful with how you invest. Focusing too heavily on certain skills will twist your detective into a completely different shape, including, quote, a violent animal, Dale Cooper on MDMA, or a Holmesian pedant. Disco Elysium then is a game that's as much about navigating your own psyche as it is the world around you, and it's definitely one I'll be keeping an eye on as we get closer to launch. Next on our list is Val Ferriss, which describes itself as a heavy metal space saga, which was certainly enough to get me interested. As you can see from this footage, it's a 2D action platformer with a really nice art style that's a little bit H.R. Geiger and a little bit Warhammer 40k. The game casts you in the role of Therion, who returns to his homeworld of Val Ferriss to discover that everything has gone pretty spectacularly wrong. Over a series of levels, it's up to you, your plasma sword, and an array of different firearms to put things right. And all with a thumping heavy metal soundtrack. What's not to love? I've really found myself getting back into this type of game of late, so personally I'm really looking forward to playing this one when it launches early next year. And finally we have What the Golf, a golf game whose tagline is "Golf is boring, help us fix it," which is a fairly clear indicator that you're in for a pretty unconventional time with this one. What the Golf is a game that presents you with a series of fairly straightforward looking levels, only you never know what exactly you're going to be sending toward the hole, or why. You might have a man raise his club for a shot only to fling himself corporeally down the links, for example, or you might be flinging a house about the place, or a goat, or even trying to thwack a horse off a diving board. Why? I have absolutely no idea, but it looks like brilliant fun. Definitely one for anybody who enjoys a good physics-based puzzler, but finds the concept of playing actual golf a bit tedious. And there you have it, 6 indie games you really need to have on your wishlist. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned about a new game or two. If there are any indie games you're particularly looking forward to at the moment, why not let us know in the comments below. Don't forget there are loads of other videos from Eurogamer for you to watch. Some of them should be on the screen now, so do give one of those a click. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff, but most importantly, thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely day.